Quadraphonnes are an all-female sax quartet. Sometimes we play with a rhythm section that's also two wonderful women. We do a wide variety of music. We started out playing classical quartet music, just the four of us, and kind of broadened it into pop, funk, jazz, little Latin.
Saxophone quartet, and so we have two of us, so we needed two more, and we had heard of Mary Sue around town, and the story is that we stalked her at one of her gigs. We were the only ones clapping because it was just a quiet night for whatever reasons. The band was
there was no one there. There was no one there. It was like in Vibe on a Tuesday night, and it was with an avant quartet, and I looked in the back, and there are these two beautiful women like clapping madly, and I'm like, who are these people? And then they come up to me afterwards and say, would you like to be in a sax quartet? And I was like, I'm very busy. I have a lot of bands that I'm in, but what's your story? So they told me their story, and it seemed like it would be a lot of fun, and I really missed playing in a sax quartet, and so I said, I'd love to do it, and they said we would need a tenor player, because you would play alto and soprano. She's alto and soprano too. And so I said, well, I have the perfect person. I never did play with Michelle. We went to college together, went to PSU together for the jazz department, and we both always are playing all the time, and we played together in college, and I missed her, and I never get to play with her, so I was like, let's call Michelle. So we did, and it was great. Thought to be in an all-female group, and I was actually a little bit trepidatious when they approached me. Like I don't want to do gimmick, I don't want to do, they were great sax players with great credentials, and so I liked them as people, and so I said, okay, I'll try that. I've never been in an all-female band before, and I have to say, having spent my entire life being in bands, sort of fighting my way up the jazz ladder, I'm treated very well by my colleagues, and but it is a different dynamic being in a group with all women, and we're each able to lead. I think, if I'm being honest, I would say that we are able to express ourselves as leaders a little bit more than we would in other situations, although we're all band directors and leaders and all very confident of being leaders, so we're not shy about doing that in other groups of friends.
Not for the big money.
There's something about if there's a couple days that go by and there's not enough time to get some personal practicing in, or posing, or whatever it is, then I find myself getting quite aggravated, and just for whatever reason I'm upset, and I don't know why I'm doing it. And I realize that I just need to go down and practice and get it out of my system, and then it's all better. It feels better. And so can't stop being musicians. And so I think that's part of it. And to go out and perform is a lot of that too. It's just a love. It's something that our souls need.
she is where she is because she is a woman, and because she's pretty, and because she's black, and a lot of people sometimes question our group on that level. Is it just a gimmick? Is it because we're all female? Oh yes, you dress, nicely. And I'm here to tell you that that's bullshit. So you can shove it up your ass. It's not true. Monk always said, look good when you go out and play. Men are out there. Herbie Mann is on the cover of his jazz flute album naked, okay? And it's disgusting, all right? So nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that. And for you to denigrate her talent, or anyone's talent that has tried and worked hard, any musician can hear other musicians that have done the work, and there's no question about that. And I think that's why we all like instrumental music and jazz and saxophone, and because you can't lie at a certain point. You can't get away with bullshit. We don't have both orders on our saxophones. We've all spent many hours in the practice room. So is she. And so for people to say that is stupid and horrible.
And your website is
Quadraphonnes.com.